So, a big welcome to Kristie. Thank you so much for taking time out to speak to me today. Kristie trained with us in EFT late last year, so just maybe a couple of months ago. And you are a live broadcaster director in a TV gallery. And I am so happy that you've come to talk to us because you've been using EFT for quite some time now, even before you came to the training. And that's what I'd love to hear some more about. So, particularly you're using it at work. Can you share some of the stresses that affect people in working in TV and particularly the news that you've noticed?
Yeah, of course. So my current role, I'm a live broadcast TV director, as you said. So I work in a gallery. I work on live program news. So we deal with everything that's coming into us on live feeds. So the environment of the gallery is extremely high pressure, particularly for my role. I work collaboratively with a producer that will decide, okay, this story is really important. We're going to put it on the telly. And it'll be my job to make sure it gets on the telly seamlessly, perfectly. And everyone as part of my crew, sound operators, camera operators, auto cue, my presenter in the studio, my presenters that might be on location, they all need to hear my voice to know what's going to happen next in the programme, which is ever changing and ever flowing. So it's a really high pressure job. It's something I've always wanted to do. And I feel really lucky that I get to do it every day. I love it, but it does have its stresses. And as I've built up over the years, getting more experience under my belt, I've dealt with all sorts of stories because, as you know, news isn't always positive news. It's quite a difficult environment to be in sometimes. And EFT has kind of been my part of my toolkit that's helped me navigate the role and navigate the stresses of the role. Sometimes I'd be on air directing, I'd say, okay, we're going to talk about, I don't know, Ukraine next. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump will walk out on a feed we've got and they'll say, no, we're not going to Ukraine, we're going to Trump, go to Trump. And I've got 5 seconds to make a decision and make that happen really quickly. So it's really quick. You have to think on your feet. So with that, the nature of that comes this high adrenaline, high anxiety to make the right call, to say the right things at the right time to the right people. And EFT has been my saviour, really, because when I'm in the gallery, I can't tap because I've got so many people to talk to and things to do. But as I'm going into the gallery just before and just after, that's when I tend to tap. I often go, we've got lots of little side meeting rooms, and I just go in there for a couple of minutes and centre myself before I go on air. And it's been my saviour, to be honest, because some hours I know I'm walking into a stressful room. I know that there's been breaking news before my hour. So I've got to pick up from someone else, and I can feel that anxiety in me and think, oh, I hope I get it right. And I've got to make the right decisions. There's a lot of pressure on me. So I tap on it. And until I did the course, I was using it with sort of positive affirmations to help center me and make me feel good in that moment, so that when I sat in the chair, I felt like I was oozing with confidence, because that's the persona I had to play. And that's how I've got through it, really. And anyone that knows me in my work environment would probably be shocked that I would say I get nervous or I'm anxious, because I don't come across like that, which obviously I can't come across like that. But EFT is my secret weapon, I guess, that I haven't really shown that card to anyone until now. But yeah, it's a coping mechanism for me. It's helped me. And it just centers me, it brings me back to myself and calms me. That's what it does. And allows me to think clearly when I need to the most, which is in that chair. So yeah, it's been my best friend.
That's so incredible. And gosh, your team are so lucky to have you using EFT for yourself and therefore
Yeah.
being a different kind of person with them. But you mentioned that before doing the training, you was using it with positive affirmations. How did that change after the training then?
But when I learned
Yeah.
what you and Peter taught me and the way to use it, I started to focus more on what was actually worrying me in the particular moment, which could
Mm.
be a particular story I've got to deal with, or a person, or the certain show I'm about to do. So I started to tap with being a bit more specific about the problem as such, but, you know, just the worry. And that worked really well too. So I think for me in that environment, the combination of the two is really useful, because
Yeah.
actually when I walk in that room and sit down in that chair, I've got to be Kristie, who's got all the answers, and I've
Yeah.
got to be that person. So it helps me play that role, I think, to some
Yeah.
degree, which isn't, you know, not being myself, but it's just allowing that the worry to sit further back and letting the confident Kristie be there, the one that got the job, that knows what she's doing, and not letting that doubt and that voice come too close to the front of my brain, I think that's what it does for me.
That's absolutely brilliant, because I think you've articulated that so well. It's good to calm the nervous system by actually addressing the upsetting worries or whatever they
Yes.
are, but
Yeah.
then bringing yourself centered and strong
Yes.
to be the person you need to be to do
Yes.
the job to the best of your
Yes.
ability. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
brilliantly.
It's
Yeah.
exactly that. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, working in a newsroom, you're going to be exposed to all sorts of things. How do people usually cope with the emotional load of seeing horrible things?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you know what, Tamara? It's so tough. Anyone I talk to about it says that everyone that's been in the company I work for, they've been there for a long time. And they say you get used to it, you become immune. I've got to be honest, that hasn't happened for me yet. I'm not immune to it. I am quite a sensitive soul. And some of the stories that we cover are awful, absolutely awful. The company I work for are really supportive. So we get emails every week if we're ever struggling. We do have a mental health line that we can contact. And if there's any stories that are a bit too hard hitting, for personal reasons to each of us, we've got a team that are really close, and we just say, this next story, I'm going to get out for 5 minutes. And normally people go, don't worry, yeah, I'll call so-and-so in for 5 minutes to cover you, because you also have a co-director with you. So should you ever need that support, your co-director can always step in. And actually, it's funny you mentioned this, because on my last shift before leaving for maternity leave this time, we were covering a really hard-hitting story of the NHS statistics around how women weren't treated right in the maternity wards around the country. And my friend said to me, story 56, I think we'll swap and you just get out. And I was like, thank you so much, because she just had my back. I didn't even have to ask her. She said, you just go for 15 minutes. It was a big, long package we were doing. So I left the room. I didn't watch it, because being heavily pregnant, that's not the sort of thing I need to be looking at right now, and just to protect myself. But you do sort of come from a place of, these stories do need to be told and people do need to know what's going on. So I always try to come from a place of, actually, okay, the news isn't nice, but we're delivering it in a way that's not biased. We're telling the story in its most truthful way. We've got reliable sources, and I trust the programming that we're doing. So I kind of bring the positivity through me through that, and that I'm delivering news that needs to be told to people. And whether I'm sat in the chair or not, the news is still happening. So I try to look at it like that, but it's really tough. You just help each other out where you can. There are some times, actually, Tamara, where we've got so much going on that the story's gone out, the news presenter's reading, we're on a package about it, and I'm almost not engaged in actually what's being said, because I'm so busy on the next story that I'm about to get together. I'm moving cameras, I'm talking to sound, I've got someone on location abroad that I'm talking to whilst that's all happening. And because everything's so time critical, sometimes you haven't actually got a moment to indulge in what's actually happening. So it's really dependent, but I think, like anything, you have to just look after yourself and your team, and my team's been really, really great for me, and I do the same for others.
Thank you. Wow, it's just so fascinating what you all have to go through to bring the news to us. And so have there been any particularly challenging stories that you felt upset about that you've been able to tap on, or have you used tapping for that?
I actually, when I first became a director, we had to do overnight shifts to sort of get up to speed with the kit. So I was working overnights, which is obviously really tiresome on the body and the brain. And I was doing an overnight shift, and it was around the time when Russia had put all of their troops on the ground on the border of Ukraine and were about to invade. And it was horrendous, to be honest, because you were just watching these cameras that were filming it, thinking, I'm just waiting for them to go over the border, and then I'm breaking that news. And it was my first big story that I had to break, and it was on my hour, because you only do an hour on, an hour off, because of the nature of it is so intense. So you're about to sit in for your hour, it's not been broken yet, you know it's coming. That anxiety in my stomach, I thought, oh God, please don't do it on my hour. I don't want to be responsible for this. This is such a big story. And it happened on my hour about 10 minutes in, which meant I was covering it for the whole thing. And I remember feeling so sad, and yeah, it really hit me because we'd all been waiting for it. And if you work in news and you followed that story, it was coming for some time before it actually happened. And yeah, it was just such a sad, sad day. And I think after that is when I really realised that I needed coping mechanisms for this job to be the best director I could be. And shortly after that, I'd YouTube and I read a book about tapping, and that's when it kind of came in for me right at the start. But I would say it probably drip fed into my life. Like, it wasn't an overnight hit. It was something that, oh, that helps me. Oh, I read that book, that was useful. And EFT started then for me just after that story, I just remember. And that war's still going on now, and it's still as hard hitting, it's still horrendous, absolutely awful. And I suppose to some degree I haven't really got over it because so much of it sat on my shoulders to deliver it and get it right. And we did get it right in terms of the timing and the nature and the tone that we delivered it, but it didn't change how tough that was for me. And I was a new director, so that was a big story to deliver. So it's a tough one.
So you haven't tapped on that one yet?
Not enough. I did at the time, but again, I was learning. I didn't really know what I was probably doing to the degree I do now. And it's classic, isn't it? With the knowledge I've got now, if I knew that then, I could have really helped myself, but I haven't tapped on it enough. Definitely not. But that was a tough story.
How would you feel about doing some tapping on that one now? Would you be open to that?
Yeah, let's do it. Would love to.
So when you think back to that, it was your first big stories and it was at night broke then. If you had to give that an intensity of how you feel about that now, what would that be?
I'd say a 6 out of 10.
Thank you. And if you could give that a title, what would the title be?
The big story.
The big story. Thank you. And for those of you watching at home, if you also, when you think about a difficult experience that you've had at work, it doesn't have to be at work, a difficult memory, then you might want to tap on that as well. If it's extremely high, I would say work on it with a practitioner. But if it's around a 6, maybe it's something that you could tap along with us now. So if you haven't done EFT before, it stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's also called tapping. It's like acupuncture for emotions without the use of needles. And the invitation here is literally to do what we do, say what we say, and if you don't like it, then just watch and don't do it. Kristie, we're going to be tapping. So obviously, if there's anything that you don't like that I say, just change it. Let me know because we're working together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's start by just putting your hands on the center of your chest and just take a deep breath in. And just notice your feet on the ground and your body in the chair right now, coming into your body. And also, you mentioned that you're on maternity leave, you're growing a beautiful baby inside you, and you can silently let your baby know that this has nothing to do with them and that they are safe and they are loved. And this is just something to help both of you feel a little bit more peaceful right now. So when you're ready, you can tap on the side of your hand and just repeat after me, even though I have this memory
Even though I have this memory
of this big story,
of this big story,
I accept myself
I accept myself
just as I am.
just as I am.
And let's just do one more round.
Even though
I have this big story.
I have this big story,
I'm safe
I'm safe,
and all is okay right now.
and all is okay right now.
Does it feel okay to say that?
Yeah, yeah.
So tapping on the top of your head
This big story,
and then coming to the eyebrows and then side of the eyes and say,
this memory,
and under the eyes, take a deep breath in. Under the nose, on the chin,
the big story,
and the collarbone. and under the arm. That memory.
That memory.
Top of the head. And as you tap on the eyebrows, notice your feet on the ground. And side of the eyes, notice your body in the chair. And under the eyes, the big story.
The big story.
Under the nose. And on the chin.
That memory.
On the collarbone. And under the arm. And put your hands on your heart chakra, say transform, take a deep breath. So if you were to guess the intensity now of the big story, what number comes to mind?
Like a 2. I feel really zen.
Thank you. Should we do one more round?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let's do it.
though.
Even though.
There's a little bit left.
There's a little bit left.
I wonder if I could let a little bit more go now.
I wonder if I could let a little bit more go now.
So that I could be even freer.
So that I could be even freer.
From this memory I've been holding on to.
From this memory I've been holding on to.
That I probably didn't even realise I was holding on to it.
That I probably didn't realise I was holding on to it.
And top of the head.
The remaining intensity.
Of this big story.
Of this big story.
There's not much left now.
There's not much left now.
And I wonder if I could let a little bit more go now.
And I wonder if I could let a little bit more go now.
And tap under the nose. And as you say that, does it feel possible, or does it feel like part of you's holding onto it?
No, it feels totally possible.
I can let go of more.
I can let go of more.
I am letting go of more.
I am letting go of more.
It's releasing.
It's releasing.
And just say transform, take a deep breath.
Transform. Yeah, that feels really good. I actually didn't realise that much emotional connection to it until we spoke. It's interesting.
Yeah. When you think about it now, if you were to recall it and just tell me what happened, how does it, is there any intensity?
No, I actually think the intensity is around the fear of me getting my role wrong as an inexperienced director than it is the story. And that just felt like, actually, it's not the story. It's me making sure I've done the right things. And because I was quite new, and I think that just comes into sometimes self-doubting Kristie that can sometimes rear her head, that can question my choices, especially in my role. And self-doubt can come in. And I actually think that's probably more the issue than the story, which comes with experience and time and building up your hours in the chair, they say, the more hours you do. And also the more things you do wrong, the more things you get right. It's a really strange position to be in. So I think it's actually more that, which is something that, like I said, I've used tapping to help me, because when you get it wrong, tapping's my saviour, because it calms me again. And because you've only got a short amount of time to make that decision, you're not always going to get it right, because that's real life. And it's having that acceptance around it, which I think as a recovering perfectionist, that's probably my biggest thing. And that just come up for me then, just like, actually, it's not always the story, it's my self-doubt, which is interesting.
I think you've really identified some important things there, because when we're learning something, getting it wrong is how we learn, whether it's, working in the studio or or anything else. So
Yeah.
that's kind of part of the growth mindset, isn't it? And
Yeah.
as a recovering perfectionist myself, I can completely relate. So
It's
yeah,
exactly that, isn't
absolutely.
it? And just
Yeah.
having that grace for yourself to just be like, okay, it's got. The thing is with news as well, it comes out, it happens so quick and it's gone, and within the next 15 seconds it'll be something else. And there's something really refreshing about that, because you realize that mistakes and moments in time are just fleeting,
Mm.
and it comes and it goes, and then something else will go wrong, and then something else will happen, and something else will go wrong. And because it's rolling like that, you do your hour, you make a mistake, oh, I get up out of the chair, someone else sits in, they make a mistake, up and out the next. But it's just life, isn't it? And it's just, if you can actually just look at that and think, this is just real, this is just, you can apply that to everything in life, can't you? That mistakes are where you grow, and they're happening all the time, and that's just we're humans. It helps me just take that pressure off, that actually perfectionism isn't the goal, but it's hard to get there sometimes.
No, I mean, absolutely. I think that's so true. So have you spoken to your colleagues? You mentioned to me, I think before we started recording, you had mentioned it to someone, but do you ever mention tapping to any of your colleagues or suggest it, or if you notice they're upset or anything like that?
I have done with a couple of my friends that are directors, just a close
Okay.
group of us, a couple
Yeah.
of other females. And it wasn't at work, it was actually when we went out for dinner that I mentioned
Uh,
that. So I haven't actually done it in the work environment. But I think that's pending for me on this journey I'm on, especially now becoming a practitioner, working on it more and learning like I am, because I know how it's helped me. And I know I said this to you before, Tamara, but my industry is calling for help with this sort of stuff, with coping mechanisms to deal with the nature of the job, and particularly in live broadcast, what I do in this sort of nugget that I'm in, because as I've said, you've got to make quick decisions, you've got to make the right calls, you're under enormous pressure to get things right. And sometimes you can see it on people that, you know, your shoulders are up here, you're carrying it all. And we really, the beauty comes when we can just sit in it and become that person that can make the decisions, because we know we can. Notoriously, in my industry years ago, it's not so bad now, but it used to be very heavily male dominated, and it used to have a lot of raised voices. And you kind of see things, films that are behind the scenes, and you can see people shouting at each other, not speaking very nicely. And in other industries, I think they'd look at that and think, oh my goodness, you shouldn't put up with that. That's terrible. But to some degree, it's not as bad as it used to, but to some degree, there is a sense of, I suppose, fire, high emotions, high intensity, and people speaking, you know, not in the kindest way to others in the gallery, in the moment. It's very often followed by an apology. It's very often followed by, I shouldn't have said that, because they're so high. The producers have got so much to do. The emotion's so high for them. They care so much that it comes out all wrong sometimes to someone else. So I think it's calling for it. I think everyone needs it. And even if you use it to center you before you go in, so that when you're faced with them big decisions, what they say, when you're poked, what pours out? When you do get poked in that environment, maybe kindness can come out first rather than a bark at someone. That's how I try and look at it. But I think, they're calling for it. They need it. They don't know they need it, I don't think, but they need it.
I think they're beginning to recognize that it's probably the start of noticing.
Yeah.
So you've now taken your EFT to the next level, and you've done the training, and you're becoming a practitioner now. What motivated you to do our training?
I read a book a few years ago. I've used it sporadically at home, at work a lot, saw the benefits of it. And then I guess sometimes when I think of, I seem to be the person within my friends, my family, that people would come to with any problems. I seem to be that person. And I love that. I love talking and sharing. A problem shared is a problem halved. And I'm always talking to my friends, and I've always sort of been that role. And I love the wellness space and self-development. I love the law of attraction and having a good positive mindset. It's helped me so much in my life. My nan really installed it in me. It's just been something that's been part of me. And I guess I've been thinking, how could I ever work or help people in this space. And then the more I got into EFT, I thought, oh, maybe this could be my thing that I learn and share in a professional way. And then I've always loved Brad Yates on YouTube. I'm a big fan. And I noticed that you and Peter and Brad had a good online connection. I just was seeing on Instagram and YouTube. And I thought that maybe these are my people, because Brad's been my go-to, which obviously I don't know Brad at all, but just on YouTube I found his channel really great, and then I found you from him, and I thought this is a sign, because Brad's always been helpful for me, so it was a no-brainer. I know I did look at other courses, but yours just had the best feedback. I felt like your website was really clear, it wasn't too far for me to travel, and at first I only booked level 1 because I thought I don't think I can do level 2 as well, because I'm a working mum and I've got a toddler and I've got a job that's really high pressure. I couldn't possibly do level 2 as well. I'll just do level 1. And then after level 1, I was like, I've got to do level 2. I've got to make this work. And I think I said to you, I was struggling to get childcare. I asked my friends. So I booked level 2 after I'd done the level 1 course. And then I remember everyone saying, will you do the practitioner? And I was like, I don't know. It's a big commitment. I'm not sure. And then after level 2, I was like, of course I've got to. Of course I have. So I've done it, and now I'm ploughing away, making real headwind in the course, and I'm absolutely loving it, really am. So it's kind of always been something I thought that would be good for me, and then after the course I'm like, it was the best decision I made. It's amazing.
How has the course changed how you do EFT? Because obviously you knew some EFT beforehand.
Well, I realise so much. Oh my God, that I could go on for ages. Just so much, even understanding the points that you and Peter went through. I didn't really know that before. I was just watching Brad like tapping away. So that was really useful, understanding the points, understanding the why, all the history about it. The course was brilliant. Some parts feel like a blur now because it's so intense. You learn so much. So I like piece bits back together. But I remember watching when we did tearless trauma technique and the videos about the soldiers and all of the stuff that's helped them with post-traumatic stress and things. And so I never knew all of that. I had no idea that it could help in that way. I just dabbled on the surface, and learning all the protocols that are involved in it, and actually how intense you could go for an EFT session with a qualified practitioner. I never realised how much you'd get out of that until now, and I'm experiencing it on both sides, learning to be a practitioner and also being a client and having my own sessions, dealing with my own things. It's been amazing for me. The list is endless, but it's the techniques, it's the knowledge, it's the why, I think, the why you're doing it and what it's doing. I remember asking Peter, sometimes when I'm tapping, I feel like I'm really calm, like I'm just like floating. He was like, yeah, because your amygdala has slowed down. And I was like, oh, and just knowing that, I was like, oh, I get it now. Like I'm actually accessing a part of my brain. And I think because I'm so enthusiastic, because I love it and I want to share it, it's made the whole process just a bit of a joy for me. It hasn't felt taxing. Time management side of it is difficult, obviously, to sort that out. But I feel really happy. I'm really lucky that I chose your course. It's been one of the best decisions I made.
I think what you've mentioned is really important, because when people do EFT, say from videos, or they just learn it themselves, it's kind of like just scratching the surface. It's just like top layer of what's possible. But when you actually go deeply into it, there is so much to it that isn't accessible just from watching YouTube. Or that's where the training can give you that depth which you've now got, which is fantastic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Wow, thank you so much. So we're going to do a bit more tapping, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
You're going to give birth to your second child very soon, which is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're going to do some tapping to prepare you for giving your baby an amazing welcome. Should we do some positive tapping? Would that be helpful?
That would be really nice. That would be really nice. Just a positive would be amazing, because that's all that baby needs to come into the world, into a nice happy mum.
Yeah, I think you said you're having a planned cesarean, is that right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, planned C-section.
So still acknowledging that cesarean is still a birth, and it's a physical experience, but it's also a welcoming into the world of this baby. It's birthing you as a mother again for the second time. let's tap on the finger points as we're talking for a moment. So thinking about the day, I presume you've got a date today. So thinking about how would you like to feel as you wake up on that special morning?
Gosh, calm, excited. Yeah, really, really present. I want to be as present as I can be. Wow. Yeah, I just feel like that bubbly, warm, excited feeling. I just can't wait. I just want those feelings, and just all positive, for it all just to be as smooth as it was last time. That's my dream.
Beautiful. So what you could do in your mind, you could connect with your baby and just let them know that on this day, we're going to be meeting each other, and say to the baby, do everything you need to do now to be completely ready to come into this world on this date, because that's the date we're going to meet each other. So just preparing your babies to knowing this is the time.
Yeah.
So any last minute developments are happening in the perfect way, so that when you arrive, it's absolutely the right time and the right moment. And how does that feel when you kind of connect with that and connect with your baby?
It was really lovely and really safe. I feel safe.
Beautiful.
Like a nice, safe feeling, and calm and calm.
Wonderful.
I'm so excited. It's such a special experience. And I am just so excited now. This last bit, it's just this final bit, isn't it?
Beautiful. So just visualizing now. So you're driving to wherever you're giving birth, and think about, is there going to be music?
Yeah.
Connecting with that beautiful music, and letting the baby know that that's what's going to be happening. We're going to be going in the car. The music's going to be playing, and then we're going to be arriving. And very shortly after that, we're going to be meeting each other. So just connecting with that moment of meeting, and just noticing the touch of the baby's skin, and
The
just
smell.
gazing into the baby's eyes, the smell, and just feeling that now, and just like letting the baby know, you are so welcome. We are so looking forward to having you in our family. You are the fourth person in our family, and our little girl is welcoming you too. And we can't wait to meet you. And just notice any other words that you want to say to the baby right now that are welcoming words, and just say that in your own time. And as you're saying that in your own time, take some lovely deep breaths, and breathing those breaths deep into your belly, into your baby, into your womb where your baby's growing now. And if there was a beautiful, welcoming colour that you could infuse into that day, into that moment when you meet your baby, you touch your baby, you feel your baby, you smell your baby, that colour that you're bathing, a bubble of beautiful energy that you and your baby are being bathed in, just notice that colour. Is there any particular colour that comes to you?
Yeah, like a really bright white.
A
Bright
beautiful,
white.
bright white.
Yeah, like a light.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. And if there was a quality or an energy to that beautiful, bright light, bright white, what quality would that be?
Like a really big bubble
Mm,
that's like soft and squishy. It's just a
mm,
big bubble.
wonderful, wonderful. And any emotions in that bubble?
Oh, yeah. Just so much love. So much love.
So just feeling that so much love right now, and visualizing that bright white squidgy bubble of so much love bathing your baby right now, as it does all the finishing touches to being completely ready at the right moment on that right day to come into your life, and into your partner's life, and into your daughter's life.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And when you're ready, you can put your hands on your heart chakra and just say transform and take a deep breath. Actually, you might want to connect your hands to your belly and just feeling your baby now as well. Just really enjoying that connection.
That's really special. Thank you, Tamara. That was so nice.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for coming on here. Are
No,
there
thank you.
any final things that you feel would be useful to say, or?
I think if anyone's watching that wants to do EFT and learn more, you and Peter are the go-tos. Been amazing for me. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for being willing to share your experiences and do some tapping with me, and wishing you all the best of luck with your baby, and
Thank you,
how it
Tamara.
goes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And if any of you watching want to know more about how to learn EFT, then do check out EFT training